What's up, what's up, what's up? Fresh off the White House from El Presidente Cheeto himself. I'll read it to you. Enforcing common sense rules of the road for American truck drivers. By the authority invested in me as president by the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America, it is so ordered. So ordered. Section 1. Purpose. American truck drivers are essential to the strength of our economy, the security of our nation, and the livelihood of the American people. Every day, truckers perform the demanding and dangerous work of transporting the nation's goods to businesses, customers, and communities safely, reliably, and efficiently. That's right. Giving me a shout out. President Cheeto, what's up? Proficiency in English, which I designate as our official national language in Executive Order 14224 of March 1st, 2025. I thought English was already designated as our nation's language. But anyways, designating English as the official language of the United States should be a non-negotiable safety requirement for professional drivers. They should be able to read and understand traffic signs, communicate with traffic safety, border patrol, agricultural checkpoints, and cargo weight limit station officers. Drivers need to provide feedback to their employers and customers and receive relative directions in English. This is common sense. That is why federal law requires that to operate a commercial vehicle, a driver must read and speak the English language sufficiently to converse with the general public, to understand highway traffic signs and signals in the English language. See that? I can't even speak English. To respond to our official inquiries and to make entries on reports and records. Yet this requirement has not been enforced in years, and American roadways have become less safe. For those of you who don't know, the FMCSA scaled back the English language requirement back during the Obama administration. A little sidebar for you. Trying to get my Trump on, just little hand signals. The administration will enforce the law to protect the safety of American truckers, drivers, passengers, and others, including by upholding the safety enforcement regulations to ensure that anyone behind the wheel of a commercial vehicle is properly qualified and proficient in our nation's language, English. Section 2, Policy. It is the policy of my administration to support America's truckers and safeguard our roadways by enforcing the common sense English language requirement for commercial motor vehicle drivers and removing needless regulatory burdens that undermine the working conditions of American truck drivers. This order will help ensure safe, secure, and efficient motor carrier industry. Again, I can't even speak English. I think I'm screwed. Section 3. Upholding English proficiency requirements for commercial motor vehicle operators. The Secretary of Transportation, Sean Duffy, for those of you who don't know, acting through the Administrator of the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration, FMCSA for short, shall, within 60 days of the date of this order, rescind the guidance document titled English Language Proficiency Testing and Enforcement Policy MC-ECE-2016-006 issued on June 15, 2016, and issue new guidelines to the FMCSA and enforcement personnel outlining revised inspection procedures necessary to ensure compliance with the requirements of 49 CFR 391.11 subparagraph B, subparagraph 2. B, subparagraph B states, carrying out subsection A of this section, the Secretary of Transportation through the administrators, I am so screwed, of the FMCSA shall take all necessary and appropriate actions consistent with applicable laws to ensure that the out-of-service criteria are revised such that a violation of the English language proficiency requirement results in a driver being placed out of service, including by working with relevant entities responsible for establishing out-of-service requirements. Section 4. Strengthening commercial driver license security and safety commercial vehicle operations. The Secretary of Transportation, Sean Duffy, through the administrator of the FMCSA shall A. Review non-domicile commercial driver's licenses issued by relevant state agencies to identify any unusual patterns or numbers or other irregularities that with respects of non-domicile CDLs issued, and B. Evaluate and take appropriate actions to improve the efficiency of current protocols for verifying the authenticity and validity of both domestic and international commercial driving credentials. Section 5. Supporting American truck drivers. Within 60 days of the date of this order, the Secretary of Transportation shall identify and begin carrying out additional administrative, regulatory, or enforcement actions to improve working conditions for American truck drivers. Section 6. General provisions. Nothing in this order shall be construed to impair or otherwise affect 1. The authority granted by law to an executive department of the or agency or head thereof, or 2. The function of the director of the Office of Management and Budget relating to budgetary, administrative, and legislative procedure proposals. B. This order shall be implemented consistent with applicable laws and subject to the availability of appropriations. This order is not intended to and does not create any right or benefit substantive or procedural, enforceable at law or in equity by any party against the United States, its departments, agencies, or entities, its officers, employees, or agents, or any other person. D. The Department of Transportation shall provide funding for this order's publication in Federal Registry. Donald J. Trump, the White House, April 28, 2025. So, I did a little Google search. I just typed in fatal accidents involving foreign truck drivers, and I got a lot of crap. Obviously, it's Google, but the thing that stuck out, first thing that popped up, states, and I'm quoting from Google: while foreign truck drivers can be involved in fatal crashes, they do not inherently increase the risk of accidents compared to local drivers. However, accidents involving foreign truck drivers can be more complex due to language barriers, unfamiliarities with local traffic laws, and difference in insurance and legal procedures. Here's a more detailed look. Factors to consider. no inherent increased risk. Foreign truck drivers themselves don't increase a risk of accident. Complexities in dealing with accidents. Accidents with foreign truck drivers can be more challenging due to language barriers, being unfamiliar with local laws and different legal and insurance systems. Focus on broader factors. While some individuals point to language deficiencies as a factor of crashes, overall data suggests that factors like fatigue, speeding, and poor decision making are more common causes. Language proficiency and regulations. There have been discussions and debates about stricter enforcement of English proficiency requirements in truck drivers. Concerns about non-native English speakers. Some argue that a rise in non-English speaking truckers could be contributing to the rise in fatal crashes. Specific examples of accidents. Several incidents have involved foreign truck drivers and result in fatalities, some rising concern about language proficiency and other factors. Legal consequences. Foreign truck drivers involved in accidents can face legal consequences, including potential deportation and conviction. Increased trucker fatalities. There has been a rise in fatal crashes involving large trucks since 2016, with some attributing this to the simultaneous rise in non-English speaking truckers. So that's what Google's got for me. So I guess my opinion on this is I'm not against foreign truck drivers. I want to make that perfectly clear. But as I said in the previous video, being able to communicate in the English language should be mandatory because it is such an important part of our job. We have to read signs fast. We have to read them and interpret them at 70 miles per hour. I'm not saying that a foreign truck driver doesn't have that ability, but if you are not fluent in the English language, it's going to take you a little longer because you have to read the sign and then you have to internally translate what it says, and that takes longer. And not only that, but you pull into a chicken coop or you pull into a receiver's and you're sitting there trying to communicate with a translator app, and it doesn't work. It slows down the process. It causes all types of problems, not just for that person or those people involved, but the people waiting behind. And again, and where was it? We also got to deal with the complexities of accidents. We drive over 100,000 miles a year. Of course, every truck driver is going to have at least one accident. I mean, that's almost guaranteed. I mean, there are exceptions to the rules. And you got to be able to communicate when that happens. So I strongly support English proficiency. My concern though with this is who is going to determine what is good enough for the English language? Being English proficient in the English language, who is going to determine whether you are proficient or not? Who's going to set that bar? So that's going to be a little concerning. That's going to be that's going to be interesting to find out. And again, there is, for those of you who want to argue that English language shouldn't be mandated, I mean, you can't argue the coincidence between when the English proficiency requirement was laxed and when the rate of fatal crashes involving semis increased. It was the same year. So again, I'm not opposed to foreign truck drivers, but I do applaud this executive order. But I also say it doesn't go far enough. It doesn't go far enough. The FMCSA still has a lot of work to do to straighten this shit out and make our roads safe. And it's my hope that this is a start to fixing the problems with the trucking industry and not just a band-aid. But either way, we got 2 months to see what Sean Duffy does with this. I'm interested in seeing how things are going to come out, are going to work out. 2 months. So that's going to be June 28th. We are going to know exactly what Sean Duffy does. Stay tuned.